let me introduce our first presenter. And our first presenter is, I just want to say, she's going to be my daughter. So Emilyn, I am so happy to welcome you to the family.
Thank you.
I am so appreciative. So just to tell you a little bit about a little bit about Emilyn. Emilyn Sosa is a storyteller, educator, and cultural creative rooted in Afro-Dominican traditions and native Brooklyn spirit. As the founder of Folk Mondaze and co-creator of the Seed to Practice program, Emlyn weaves ancestral wisdom, spiritual herbalism, and creative exploration to inspire collective liberation and deeper connection to nature. Her topic today is Scent and Memory, Herbs to Sharpen the Mind. So, Emlyn, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super grateful to Miss Diane and Olga for creating this space for all of us to learn together. And this is my debut, so I'm very, very excited. I've been a listener, but I've never had an opportunity to say my message. So this is something that I kind of had to sit with to see like what I wanted to present to you all. And this has been a topic that has been coming up a lot for me, and I hope that you are able to take something with you that's helpful. So I'm going to share my screen because I have some slides to help us for those of us who are visual learners. And great. So as you all know, the topic of today is going to be sense and memory, herbs to sharpen the mind. So as Ms. Diane said, I am a community herbalist. I've learned under many teachers that I am grateful for. So that's my share in terms of what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for all the teachers and mothers who have, mothered me to get to this point where I can feel confident enough to share my own knowledge and the knowledge of those that came before me. So I first want to say hello to everyone. Thank you so much for being with me today. Um, we're going to explore how to make a simple act, right, of using scents and herbs that can benefit our memory, our focus, and our overall mental clarity. And I'm sure that a lot of you can relate to this feeling that we get sometimes when we feel a little bit foggy minded, or just generally tired, or um, noticing that we're starting to forget things. I'm definitely a young adult who still struggles sometimes to like remember where I put my keys. So there's a lot of things that I feel like impact my ability to just like focus on what's right in front of me and to like center myself. So I'll be showing you how to incorporate some simple practices into your daily life in a very calming and accessible way. As an herbalist, I very much focus on accessibility as a way to get people into herbalism. Because I don't believe that you have to buy a bunch of things and, spend a bunch of money and just like, feed into consumerism in order to be an herbalist. I believe that it is our right to be in community with nature and with herbs. So this is something that you can start wherever you are. Okay, so for those of you who are like, I've never thought about herbalism, you are good. I'm sure you know way more than you think you know. So before we dive in, I want you to think about a smell that brings back a specific memory for you. So maybe it's a scent of a flower, a kitchen spice, or even the earth after it rains. So the connection between scent and memory is incredibly powerful, and we're going to tap into that a little bit today. I'm going to demonstrate a few simple practices, and I encourage you to follow along with me. Definitely, if you have some of the materials that I mentioned and you want to grab them and do it with me, please do so. But I also know that folks are doing other things in their on their Saturday morning, so no pressure. And if this is something that you've never tried before and you're feeling a little bit weary about it, feel free to jot down any questions you have because we're gonna have time for questions and answers at the end. Okay, so I would love to start us off with a little bit of me getting to know who's in the room, and also if you can share some of the um herbs or scents that bring back an important memory for you. So if you don't mind unmuting yourself, and if you can share what that scent is and what the memory is, as well as your name, where you're calling from or coming in from, so we know. Anyone
Hello,
want to
I'm
share?
Miranda. And as you talked about scent, I just went back to my mother, and the first thing that came was palm olive soap. She
Mm,
loved using palm olive soap in the house. These days we have various other scents, but that comes back to mind. Yeah.
that's beautiful. Thank you, Miranda. And something interesting about palm olive soap, obviously it's a formulated thing for us to purchase. But a lot of the central scent of palm olive soap that really triggers memory is that pine, you know? Yeah, I see some hands. You can just go ahead, Mr. J.
Yeah, when you asked the question, I first thought about blueberry blossoms this time of year. I grew up on a blueberry farm in Indiana, and our family truly enjoyed the experience of running the farm for many, many years. And I actually bought it after undergraduate school for a few years to run it to make money to go back to college for graduate school. But blueberry blossoms to me always represented the potential of the future because that's when the bushes get, you know, all of the fruit is propagated out of the bees coming and pollinating the blossoms. But it was a wonderful time to be in the fields, full of expectations of the harvest to come, and so it's a very pleasant time of the year for me.
Wow, thank you for that share. I'm very grateful to be in community with another land steward like myself. So thank you for sharing that, Mr. J. And then I see Miriam has a hand up. Or did
Yes, I do.
Okay, great.
My favorite scent, or I remember my mom, whenever anything happens to us, she always runs for the fever grass. In the Caribbean, we call it fever grass. We know it has lemongrass here, and that fragrance just does something. That warm tea just helps you to revive, and just brewing some of that just to smell up the room. It reminds me so much of my mom's um flavor of making sure that we're healthy again. Fever grass.
Thank you, Miriam. Yeah, lemongrass is like a hug, like a mother's hug. Honestly, that's how it feels. That's how the scent feels for me as well. And shout out to all the mothers. I'm hearing a lot of stories around remembering your mother, around some scents. And then one last hand, and then we're gonna move forward. Coach Elman.
The first thing that came to my mind when you mentioned about sense and memory was one of the strongest ones I remember. Was driving past a paper mill, and there's an overpowering scent of sulfur. Not a pleasant scent, but it was a very strong scent. And that's the first one I remember because it's one of the strongest smells I had. So that's what came to mind when you asked that.
No, thank you for sharing what came to mind because sometimes we think that when we're trying to trigger a smell, we're going to go to the pleasant ones. But sometimes where our mind takes us is to, unpleasant smells that can sometimes kind of overpower our brain thought because it's like, that kind of sour, sulfury smell is super strong. And even you saying the word sulfur, I literally know what that smells like. I'm sure most of the people in this room do. So Thank you for that example and that share. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna move forward. So I have 3 herbs here that I want to present to you as herbs that are well known for memory and focus. And their scents can support us with memory and focus. Lemongrass, although I won't be talking much about it today, I want to give a special shout out. Thank you to Miriam, because lemongrass is definitely on the list for me. But now I want to share some of the things that some of these plants and herbs that are already familiar to you, because like I said, accessibility is everything. I'm not going to come on here and tell you all these herbs that you've never heard of. There are plenty. I mean, nature is so vast and luscious and generous, right? But these are ones that you can literally get at your corner store. You can get it on EBT. You can get them at your local community garden. Like, this is where we all can start, okay? So first we have rosemary, which is the one that we're going to really focus on mostly today when I have my demo. And I am so grateful that I was actually able to just go into my backyard and cut this up today. My mom, shout out to my mom, gifted me a rosemary plant. So it is growing in the backyard, and I just chopped this up right before joining y'all. So something to know about rosemary is that in terms of the herbal profile, it has a strong, when you smell it, like camphor-like aroma, kind of piney, woody. And something that this does when you smell it is that it can support mental clarity. Like if you're having mornings where you're like, oh, I'm just dragging, like my brain feels foggy or my mind feels convoluted, like sometimes our brain just feels heavy. Rosemary is a beautiful herb and spiritually is known as an herb of remembrance. So it's one that I love to use, especially when I want to connect with my ancestors. When I want to just like sit in stillness, I love this herb. And basically what it does is that it stimulates your nervous system through your olfactory. So your nose, it's all connected, your taste, nose, ear, but basically through smelling the scent, it stimulates your nervous system, which is what controls, like, when people say I have bad nerves. So that's the system that we want to support, because we all live under capitalism. We all live under a very, very stressful modern day life. Okay. So we want to support our nervous system always, and also enhance this one enhances focus, and it helps to reduce stress and anxiety, which we all deal with at various degrees. Okay. Next we have sage. So sage can be a tricky one. I know that sometimes I've had some elders, like when I burn sage, they're like, I hate that smell. Not everyone loves sage, but I love to feature sage because sage is exactly as its name. It is so helpful for that wisdom, okay? It has a sweet floral scent. It's warm, slightly musky, and it's beautiful for, again, clearing up mental fog and improving focus. So sage is a beautiful one. When people, they use sage to cleanse their space. Not only are you cleansing your space energetically and spiritually, but also your mind. Okay. So it helps to promote that relaxation, reducing stress and anxiety, and improving cognitive function and uplifting your mood. I love to burn a little sage after cleaning up my house. So like, let's say, you just did a good clean. You might want to burn a little sage, right? To lift that mood. Now, peppermint is the last one I'm going to chat with you about. So the herbal profile of peppermint is that it's in the mint family, okay? So we all know the mint family and we love it, okay? The mint family is known because not only does it grow wild, but it also is so generous in what it provides to us. That minty, cooling sensation that you get from peppermint is so helpful. It's a decongestant, okay? So decongestant means like if you're dealing with sinuses or allergies, this is something beautiful that you can use for, let's say for a simmer pot or something like that. And it also relieves headaches, okay? Sometimes we think we we'll dismiss like a minor headache that we're dealing with, but that can really mess up your whole day. Okay, when you're going through the day with a migraine or a headache. So peppermint can be really beautiful to also increase that alertness and to help clear our thoughts when we're feeling sluggish or foggy. So like alertness is a really good one because I feel like yeah, like anything in the mint family, like even someone mentioned lemon balm, I believe. No, it was lemongrass, but lemon balm is also beautiful. So all of the minty family herbs. So, how else can you use these herbs, right? Because like I've named a few things, but here are a few simple ideas that I want to share with you about how you can start to incorporate practical aromatherapy in your life. So for example, um, in the morning, you know, like let's say you do like to go out to the garden or you have a, you know, small herb garden or something. Or you have some indoor plants that are aromatic. Like for example, I'll show you this one. Does anybody know what this is? Come on, y'all know.
Is that thyme?
Yes, it is. I'm like my Caribbean people in the room. Yes, this is broadleaf thyme. So a lot of you may know the thyme that we use for culinary purposes. This one is also used for culinary purposes, but it's a lesser known one because it has broader leaves. But if you touch it, it's super fluffy. And when you touch it and smell, it is just like incredible. I wish that I could like send you the smell right now. But I love to keep this small little baby plant on my desk because it just like sometimes when I'm feeling oh, like I can't even set the tone for the day, I'll just like gently rub her, obviously asking for some permission, and just smell my hands. And it just like helps to just get me going, okay? That's a beautiful medicine from this plant. Um, some of you may be users of essential oils. So, you know, you might want to have a little vial of essential oil, then you can just like dab on yourself or smell midday when you're feeling like you're dragging, okay? Like the day is so long. I will say about essential oils though that they are a less sustainable way of engaging with herbal scents because it takes a lot of plant material to produce essential oils. So I don't necessarily condone that being your only and central way of engaging with herbal medicine. But if you're doing it in an ethical way, I encourage it. You know what I mean? Okay. And also I think something that we might not think about is that, you know, just being able to sit with a plant is really, really powerful. I feel like sometimes because we do live in a consumerist society, we think like, oh, I have to ingest it, I have to drink a tea, I have to, you know, I have to cut it and take it in the house. And you know, maybe not, you know, if you're not ready to engage with herbal medicine in that way yet, you can still receive the medicine and the benefit from your sense by just simply taking a nice walk and engaging with the smells of the earth. Okay, that can be super powerful. um and some of the ones that I have on the screen here is like, for example, when you make your morning tea or whatever time of the day you make your tea, focus on the smell. Like when you're sipping it slowly, focus on the smell, and you're gonna see that it's gonna enhance the entire experience of having your tea. Because our smell and our taste are very connected, but sometimes we focus so much on the taste of the tea and not so much on the aroma. That steam that comes from you covering, I always encourage folks to cover their tea when it's steeping, so that when you open it up, it just hits you, okay? That is aromatherapy in a very simple and cost-effective way. Also, simmer pots. I love me a simmer pot. Miss Diana knows I went to her house and I made a simmer pot out of whatever I found in the kitchen, okay? It's a beautiful way to introduce like that beautiful medicine of herbs into our home. It just like takes up the room, okay? Um, time in the garden. If you have access to a community garden or a home garden, it is a beautiful way to really engage your mind with all the smells, okay? And something else that I like to share that is a little bit more uncommon maybe is a dried herb satchel that you can literally put in your purse, your bag, have it on your desk. And I like to fill mine up with lavender buds. I don't know if we have any lavender lovers, but I love to put lavender in mine and just keep it in my purse. Because not only does it invite some good vibes, but it also, like, in terms of just protection, but I think just that smell when I open up my purse is everything. It just like invites me to just be present. Okay. Now, um, let's keep it pushing. So today I want to give you a quick demo of something that you can do for yourself at home. And if for those of you who want to follow with me, you can. So this is going to be a very simple, I don't know if you can see my materials here, a simple DIY of making a mist. Okay. So this is something that I started like playing around with in the pandemic, where I made this really beautiful calendula mist, which is calendula is a flower. But it was just such a beautiful experience. So I started to play around with that. So the one that I'm making for you today is obviously going to center rosemary that I just got from the garden. And all you really need is a small spray bottle or jar, whatever you have at home. I already filled this one with a little bit of water, but you essentially just, um, cut up some of this rosemary, put it in there. No need for measuring. Just measure with your heart. Okay. And then you want to top it off with some witch hazel. So this is just a facial toner that I use. Okay. So it's about half and half of a little bit of water, a little bit of witch hazel. And obviously you have the option of putting other herbs in there. You have the option of putting a few dots of essential oils. You can also use dried herb if that's what you desire. And don't worry too much about writing everything down because you will receive like a little one pager from me that has the recipe. But yeah, so this, can you all see? This is a mist. Basically, like, let's say I just woke up and I'm like, oh, tired, another day. Literally, just spritz myself. Or I may spritz the room, the vibes and the smells. All right. So with that, I want to just share, some final thoughts, and then obviously we'll definitely want to hear from you and see if you have any questions. But I hope this workshop has sparked some ideas for you on how to use scent to support your memory and mental clarity. These practices are easy to incorporate into your daily life, and don't require a lot of time or effort. So remember, you don't need to start with a large collection of herbs or essential oils. Like, even keeping just like I said, like a small satchel in your bag, or like, starting wherever you want to start is what's important. That's the best way for herbal medicine to actually, impact your life, is for you to start where you are. And as you move forward, consider making a scent-based practice a small intentional part of your day. Oh, something that I forgot to say is that, when you're shaking this to get the volatile oils, which is that's what you smell, the oils that are on the plant. When you swirl around, set your intention. It's like, thank you, Rosemary, you know, uh, or, thinking about, like, I want to remember my childlike self or something, setting your intention of what you really want to call in for yourself is really, really beautiful. Um, And I hope that, you're encouraged to, be in connection with nature in this way. So with that, I want to end there and see if you have any questions.